In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall. Debate the warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited, mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by lore. Dive in deep and search for more. In the ring we stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
Spartans! What is your profession?
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it today with another show, another episode, another stream, another night. Of course, you know where you got blah, blah. Let me try that again, speaking in English. You guys know where you're at. You're at Spartan Institute Network. I am the Spartan, as always, the host. Can't just by myself. Let's get this little scrawny little guy in here.
It's Bear Paw. Bear Paw.
Why
Bear Paw.
why are you calling yourself Bear Groom?
No, there's no Bear Grylls. I'm 6 foot tall,
Turn your
weigh
fucking
around
camera on.
300 pounds. And how am I little? Last I checked, I get a lot of people in Brooklyn, New York already.
There are
Nothing
other
little
little
about me.
things about you. Turn your camera on.
Nothing little until you put it the right side down, put it back on. There we go. Now we speaking.
That's my bad. I didn't realize I was on the wrong LeBron stadium. My bad, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, David, how are we doing tonight?
Let's see. Then with the heat, we got the kids and the grandkid here.
And then great grandkids too.
Ain't no great grandkid. If that was the kid, I would be retired already a long time ago. Just like Security Boss. Shout out to her in South Africa.
Anyway, overall, David, today's been a weird day. I think the heat is getting to people. To be honest with you,
That's not new.
why you say that?
Well, every year I watch people who let the heat get to their head and I see all the craziness they do so far. Which I find it
Actually, I was
ironic.
watching another stream last night. Dane C. Bearded, right? And a shark headbutted this guy. Yeah. So I think that maybe that's a new version of fishing now these days.
I don't know about that. I'm just think like I said, they're not used to the heat. And then like that. Talking like me, for example. If you live in a nation that heat is almost 365 days a year, which is annoying, and you get so black, like by the time they turn the light, they can't actually see you. They just call me shadow. I got picked on being dark skinned.
But you're in Africa, isn't it? Like most people with dark skin down there.
No, that depends on the region. Some region is much darker than the other. I'm talking about their skin is so black, you think it's blue. And I'm like, damn, I thought I was black, but they were blacker than me, black. So I get it. You be in the sun, you drinking 2 gallon of water every day because the level of heat. You think California and Texas were bad? They're a little further into the heat. And we've been known for years not to drink alcohol during the heat because that will mess you up real bad. You have to drink a lot of alcohol. You know why? The moisture and the heat, it can force your skin to break real bad if you're not careful.
Yeah. Every gallon of water you drink, you get sweat out 2 gallons.
Bingo. So that's a normal thing in Africa. And plus, there are people who are used to the sun. They farm under the sun. They work under the sun. And I used to think that they're crazy until I've been put through the ringer now. I understand why. So when you're accustomed to the sun, it don't really get to you much than someone who is not accustomed to the sun. We have 4 seasons out here. So the sun don't stay long. If you have it for more than 6 months, you feel like you're in the desert. There's time I hate the sun, but there's sometimes I enjoy the sun because laundry time. Cool. Put the clothes on the line. In less than 2 hours, your clothes is fried. Warning, do not put it on. Let that thing cool off.
Mm-hmm.
Because you put on hot clothes when it's dry. Oh God, I was an idiot one time thinking it was not gonna be a big deal. Put on my uniform shirt on while it's still hot. All I know the hair on my back was standing up like getting burnt. I was like, what was I thinking? Put on
You
a hot
weren't.
like I wasn't thinking. I thought it would not be a big deal. My peer was laughing at me, making fun of me, like you supposed to let that thing cool off a bit before you put it on. Yeah, we just joke about the sun iron your clothes. Yeah, it did iron my clothes. But the level of heat it put on when I put on my body, I thought I lost some hair in my back. So trust me, the heat is it's a bully. African heat. ugh, don't go there if you're not ready for it. If you're overweight, yeah, go there, do 200 pounds, come back and look different.
Yeah, I'm not planning on that anytime soon. No offense, David.
I joke about you want to lose weight real quickly, stay there for 1 month. When you come back, no one will recognize you.
You know how everybody has their bucket list of countries they want to visit?
Hmm.
Yeah. And please don't take this the wrong way. Africa was never on my list for some reason.
It won't be on a lot of people's list because they'll think it's not really what it is until you get a glimpse of it. It's not what people think it is. My bucket list was Japan or China. Because they would be China. I had to see the Great Wall of China. I want to walk it myself. Because you read it in a history book, but you want to see for yourself and actually walk it. That'd be crazy to
Hmm.
walk along the Great Wall of China. Dude, that's like walking along the damn border from one country to another country.
Like Japan is like one of the countries I want to visit, and that's why I hate Ken Smith right now. Shout out to him because he's flying out to Japan tomorrow,
Oh boy, he gonna rub it in your face.
dude. He was tasting Okinawa, bro.
Hmm.
So he's not going by himself. He's going with his girl and his kid. So he told me that would be a great graduation present for her coming out of high school. But anyway, dude, let's talk about the soundtrack of success.
Mm.
What are you thinking of this? Go ahead.
I'll be honest with you. I never have any caught any music that would be considered to be a soundtrack of success. I'll be honest. It's mostly a word, but music I'll be thinking like a motivation for getting my workout on. But success? I'll be honest though. I had to look through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And trying to figure what song would people use for success. And me being, I can't tell I'm a music nut, but I'll be lost. I'm like, no, I know they have music for having baby, music for graduation, music for funeral, and there's music that in case you're in the gym and you want to go beast mode. Yes,
Ting tang, walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee, ooh ting tang, walla walla bang bang.
that's the music you get yourself bullied in high school.
Other than the music you grew up on,
No, not that one. That's the music. We play that in school. I've seen the dweeb and the god that play those type of song. They get bullied a lot for that.
nobody really got bullied with that song. When I know, I got bullied. I got bullied a little bit because I listened to different kind of music during high school.
Mm.
I didn't wasn't a big rap person back in the day. If
That
that
that's
makes
the
sense.
thing. Brooklyn, it's heavy on rap. It's heavy on
The whole
reggae.
New York State is heavy on rap. You're
No,
talking a kid who grew up, a white kid in a 90, not 90, I'll say about 80, no, 60, no, 55% Latino and 55 black, and I was the 1%.
you have a mixture. If you don't have rap, you may have reggaeton. If you don't have reggaeton, you have salsa music. If you don't have salsa, you have some Spanish beat play. Because Bushwick in Brooklyn, when you go there, you barely hear rap, but a lot of Spanish music and the merengue, that's the kind of thing they play there.
It's a good, great, like, I love Spanish music. Definitely, dancing to it with your chick,
Hmm.
great. But here's the thing, and most people don't know this, and I've done my homework on this, and I might get a little pushback from you right now on this one. All music came from one source of music. Is actually rock. Back in the day, I'm talking back in the day. I'm talking about medieval times, swords and everything. They didn't have the instruments we had. If you listen to the not the lyrics, I know it's hard to find old music still around like that. But when you do find songs that people recreate today, it's with the same instrument, a guitar, it's some type of drum. Those are two instruments you need to have any metal music or rock.
I, I wouldn't think it's rock. They call it folklore. It's like some kind of
Folklore
melody.
is original form of metal or rock.
I wouldn't say that because I had a music teacher. She was, I don't know what you call it. And believe me, I learned one lesson.
For a good
No,
example, I know.
hold on. This is from high school. Everyone who have music classes, I'm sure you all agree one thing. You don't argue with a music teacher. They are the most annoying. Sorry. If you remember me, I'm sorry that I stated you were annoying, but
I'm
gosh,
not.
you don't let go on the music history. So if you call one music genre to another genre, oh God, I do not want to be left behind, Clyde, and have to do all these extra. I avoid it. And I remember old medieval songs were called folklore, and there are different variations depending on the origin, either from the Anglican, the Saxon, the Irish, the North. They all considered folklore. But when it got closer to the next generation, I forgot what they call it. But wasn't no folklore anymore. But I don't know what it is. It's almost like the origin of ballroom music, but it's one of those type of things that you hear like Beethoven, no other thing, the upper, those kind of music that put me to sleep. So there's a generational change because music changed around. In the European side, they folklore music. They went to some of these weird Beethoven opera music. In China, their music is completely different.
Hmm.
That is a whole complete genre, and the instrument they use is the same thing as well as Japan. Africa drum is more drum, but they call it speaking drum or drum that can speak multiple language. The
Again, you already
Latinos,
said exactly what I said. Most music starts with a drum
mhm,
and a guitar. They form the guitar. Like Buzuki,
yeah,
it came from the guitar, but is a Greek version of guitar. Not saying they invented a guitar. I'm not saying
yeah,
that one
but
bit.
I won't call it rock. For rock, we know.
I said folklore music is a form of rock music. What folklore developed into rock music eventually, and rock music developed to everything else.
I wouldn't say that because remember you had the ballroom music. Those are
And
one that
that
you
was rock and roll.
Beethoven with a fake wig.
Yeah,
Um,
that was again a form. Everything it's not the same like it is now. I'm not saying it was, but Beethoven music, the classics like we call now, is
mhm.
rock and roll. I'm not saying that, but it was a form of some form of the next form. That's what I'm saying. So you have folklore, then you had classical, whatever you want to call it, rock, metal, whatever. There are different kinds of it. Yes. Then over the years transform. But the last step was rap. Rap is very new. It's very young age still. It's not. It's not like it's not been around for hundred of.
Then if that's the case, what about jazz?
Do I really have to talk about jazz? I hate jazz.
See, that's what I'm trying to point out because you can't sleep on jazz.
No, I can't. You're right. I can't. I hate talking about it, but I'll tell you straight. Again, it's a form of look for or whatever you want to call it that transform into one to the other. Evolve. That's where I'm going with this, Dave.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what country started it or not. If you listen to the Viking music, all right, and that we still have scriptures
Woodwind.
about. I'm
Mm.
sorry.
Thank you, Eric. Well, Eric, don't forget woodwind. That's
Yeah, yeah.
another ancient music that I didn't study enough to get into it because remember I said music teachers are weird. I don't like to argue with music teachers because that's not my major. I'm not a music major. But you go to music majors classes, oh God, you gotta learn how to write the note, not to. I forgot all the lingos.
Why do you
Believe me,
think I never took music classes in high school?
could drive you nuts.
No, because the theories I knew at a very young age, they weren't like some teachers. I had like out of 10 teachers, about 4% will agree with me, and the rest was like you're an idiot. But facts are facts.
And
Like
that's why I don't met with music teachers. I don't.
that's what I'm gonna say. if you listen to the Viking music, right, that we have now, what is one thing you hear very well?
That's a good question.
Guitar,
You hear the guitar.
drums.
I know you hear the guitar. You hear the drum. That is
See where
very.
you see where I'm going with this already?
I know you see where you're going, but the drum have always been universal across the
I'm
globe.
not disagreeing with that, David. I agree
I
on
know.
that. It's universal. What I am, my debate right now with you is the Lord music, whatever you want to call it, right? Back in when I first started,
Hmm.
it's the foundation of all music,
Hmm.
from rock, jazz to metal to hip hop to rap. That was the foundation. Can we at least agree on that tonight?
I'm sorry, I will have to push back. I'm glad you did that. I will end up because I know based on music, based on origin where it comes from, it will not all be the same. Just like black people and African America, which trust me, I do not like to get in this argument. It's going back and forth between African American and African music, who copy who. You have jazz, then from jazz to R&B, to R&B you have hip hop, to hip hop to rap. Part of it from the R&B that a sidetrack to country music. Origin meaning black to their own country, not white. This is what I'm saying. There's a history behind it. So I will not go to that place. It's no different from Latinos and those from South America, where they say that song or the music origin come from. That's why I also know every country we're not going to agree based on the sound and the origin the music come about.
And
Japanese
I
music,
understand that, Dave. I'm not arguing that part.
I know
I'm saying, can we agree on it? All of it came out from one foundation. That's
it
it.
comes from one foundation, but I don't think it's rock. There had to be another. It had to be the ancient name for that.
Whatever it was. But if you listen to the old school music, like I said to you, rock and metal music needs to always have a guitar in it and a drum, at least. All
But
right.
that's no different from reggae. Reggae music has drum and guitar,
Exactly. Exactly.
but it's not rock.
Yeah. And people are going to argue like, oh, music it came from, great example. Somebody I know said to me once, and I think this is the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. All music came from Jamaican music. Exactly. But we really don't know the source where the music came from. Oh, you need a timeout?
Hold on, I almost choked.
That'll
And
be
then,
hilarious. Actually, that'll be a great clip.
because when you said that and came from Jamaica, the world original people that came from Jamaica from there. If you go overlook the transatlantic, if you go overlook the transatlantic slave trade, that origin comes straight from Africa. So they need to stop with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned the original continent. I'm talking about South America. I'm talking about Asia. I'm talking about Australia. Africa itself have a unique. And believe me, I will talk about African meat and its origin. The thing about it's ridiculous. It the instrument they use, the drum, but it's not regular drum that you're referring to. I look at Native American. Native American music, it's another thing, and you can't even call it rock to begin with. It's another different origin itself. So when you try to study history, you try to understand the different origin and never stay the same. Yet it comes from somewhere, but it's not the same category. That's the obvious truth about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the rock is more modernized name that people call it. But the
That's a modern
ancient
name.
name is,
Yeah, I'm not denying that. That's
I know, but
the
the ancient name is not right. That's why I say folklore. Folklore is just as old as your great grandfather because they will love
okay.
that music.
Okay, we're going in the
And
right direction. And finally, we're agreeing on something.
okay,
Yes, they didn't call it rock back then. They called it something else.
I'm about to say
They
folklore is
called it. They might even called it nothing. They called it music. That's why they called it. But my
pretty much.
point is trying to get to you with you, like that's the folklore transformed into the modern rock. All right, and then it spinned off to all the different kind of music. Because if you get back in the day, bro, I mean, back in a day, it was only one or two types of music. I'm talking about like 50s,
50s,
even 40s. I know you remember those late times, right? You were like
50
what?
and 40.
20s?
They're the argument on that one.
Yeah, you were what, 20s in your 50s back then?
I was born in 78. That's one.
You didn't get my joke.
Two.
Dumbass.
I know, but 40 and 50, there's a lot of argument on that part. A lot of death of origin coming from that part, where rock and roll was stolen from African American. That's a lot of argument on that part. Country was stolen from them. Some original single was infringed, aka copyright, like people want to call it, how you want to call it. That a lot was going on. While we have American music, other regions around the world have their different music that don't even sound like us, not one bit. You have the Mongolian music, which, like I tell you, I'm a person who love history. And when I listen to different sounds from different origins around the world, I start to realize all music does not sound the same. There's a culture dynamic behind it. Whether you listen to the Japanese and the South Korean, North Korean, and where the Chinese mean, then you start to understand there's a cultural difference of how their music sound. I can't even call it rock. When you look at Africa, we look at Australia. Australian music, I be trying to figure out how do they enjoy that kind of music. Then you had the one
That's the same thing with me. How do people enjoy jazz?
jazz is the African American music. Remember, cultural difference. There's an African American guy who went to Europe, he went to Romania, and they one popular that everybody know. And when they were singing it, I'm trying to understand what kind of song is that they're singing. It don't sound like rock and roll. It do not sound like pop. It's a whole completely jump. That's what that let me know. Music is not the same all around the world.
Like
If
back in
your
the 40s, swing music was the biggest thing.
swing music was the biggest thing among the white group. Let be straight. Swing was
And right
among the
after
white
that, rock blew up.
swing was among the white demographic. Why it was among the white demographic according to history. Country music was among the black demographic among the slaves.
That I did not know that.
See, that's what I'm talking about history. History have a
It
way
is
of
funny. It is funny you said that. Because, I mean, I'm sorry I cut you off for a second, right?
hmm
For years and years and years, I mean, all right, in our lifetime, right? People
hmm
say one thing about country. Oh, that's for white folks, right?
hmm
I'm gonna show you an artist really fast. I'm not gonna play his music. I'm just gonna look him up really fast.
hmm
Give me 1 second to find his song, Sir Red. I am blue. Okay, his name is. Yeah, I'm actually gonna share my screen. Sorry, guys. I actually like the song. It's a very a country song and patriot song. His name is what the fuck is his name? Kofi Anderson. Can't get any more darker than that, right? Right, David.
Nope.
All right. There are a good amount of black artists that sing different music that people will consider that white people music or not their music. Agree or disagree?
I can I can say 50-50 on that.
Hey, lower your camera a little
So
bit because I'm seeing your gray hairs only.
no, because I'll look into my assistant, my own chat GPT, and type in original music. The first one is called prehistoric music before writing system. It was primitive or tribal. That is correct. Tribal music. As you go down into it, we have ancient civilization. They're referring to the Mesopotamian
I think you
Egypt.
don't misunderstand how I'm saying this. All
I know
right.
understand. I'm looking
No,
for the
no, no.
terminology.
The terminology changes over the years, but
hmm
today's rock music, in 2025, was back in 1800s music and
But here,
evolved to that.
but
That's
he-
what I'm saying.
but here what
Let me
ChatGPT
finish one
say.
second. Let me finish one thing, and you can go. Okay,
Mhm.
David, give me 1 second,
Okay.
right? To get this thought because I don't want to forget about it. So
Okay.
when I say this rock is the foundational of music, meaning folklore was the original, but it's also our version of folklore is rock today.
Mhm.
Am I making sense now?
you're making sense in a way. That's like a theory. 'Cause I remember
Isn't history a theory anyway? Not
what chapter.
music. I'm talking about music right now. We're not talking about music, nothing else.
I'm telling you right now.
We don't
Because they
have
were trying
any historical facts what the music was back then.
he was Jamon chapter 2 said based on modern time. First one is classical. That's based on Western Europe, which medieval that started in medieval time. And the Renaissance period. So that is correct. I remember that class and I hated it. They called it classical. The next level of that was folk. Remember I said folklore music? It's a traditional music of the people, passed originally only through generations.
Mm-hmm.
You have American folk, you have Celtic, you have Yoruba folk, which is my tribe. Yes, there's Yoruba folk music. I remember that one very well. And there's South America as well. They have blues and jazz. Blues and jazz origin is African American community in the US. After that, you have rock and roll. Rock and roll was born in 1950s. In other words, it's not as old as blues and jazz. It's not as old as folklore or folk. It's not as old as classical. After rock and roll, we had hip hop, which started in 1970. After that, we have electronic and dance music. And then we have world music. World music consists of Afrobeat, which consists in Nigeria, what origin is. We got reggae, which is Jamaica. We got samba from Brazil. And we had Bhangra from India, Punjab. That's exactly what it is. So there are many different origins. That's why I would say I know when you say rock, all the historians they will never agree to that one. So that's why I left. And then with math teacher and the history, I do not like to be in their classroom. No, because that means extra homework and you will burn my brain cells. I leave it alone.
What brain
Because
cells?
in Africa, you have Afrobeat, you got High Life, you got Sokos, you got Gomb, and you got what do you call Mbalax. In USA, we got blues, jazz, rock, hip hop, R&B, country. In the Caribbean, we have reggae, dancehall, soca, and calypso. In Latin America, we have salsa, cumbia, bachata, reggaeton. Asia, we got K-pop, Bollywood, traditional Chinese, and you have gamelan. Europe
I
is
know K-pop
classical.
is huge in Asia right now.
Why did I do this? Because that is annoying. In Europe, you have classical, EDM, opera, that one. That's why I'm glad I don't wear glasses. If I do, I'm not going to no opera room. You're not gonna have me going to the opera room and you break my glasses and I can't charge nobody for their high pitched voice. No, thank you. Metal, which is from Europe, and Eurodance. Middle East, we have Makwa, Tarab, Dakar, Persian classical. Remember what I mentioned that every region have its cultural music, but it will never be under rock. Rock have started in 1950, and there's a music way older than rock. So you can't put rock at the root of our music when there's other music that's way older than that. Yes, the drum is universal, but drum never looks the same all across the globe. That have been proven a lot because what's the original design of the drum? Animal skin and some kind of clay like substance.
You literally just took my theory. My theory, you're just proving me right.
No, but even though that's the case, but it wasn't rock. It considered when I talk about folk music is between tribe and culture. That is been known on multiple origins around the globe. Africa passed down folk music about from generation to generation. It wasn't a popular music, it was music that recognized by their own tribe and their culture. Brazil have the same thing. The Australian have the same thing. The Japanese have their own folk music from ancient times. The Chinese have their own folk music from ancient times. The Korean is no different. Folk is a common term for music that passed down for generation to generation, but it's never considered to be rock. The reason why it's like you're passing down a piece of history that originated from their family. Some people have a song that it tied to their family tree. You don't hear it outside, but it's only known within that particular family. But it's not rock. That's the interesting about it because you go, you know how many internet African people have? It's ridiculous. When I first see that, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought we got instrument more. They got instrument that is not known over here, but it's known over there. Say to apply to South America. They have their own kind of instrument that America will never understand or know how to
Mhm.
use. Now, the what would I call it? The what would I call it? It's like a piano, but it's almost like air. That is a European instrument, not American instrument. The Australian have their own different type of instrument. That right there is not known in every other country. Now let's not talk about the Chinese and the Japanese. We see their so-called guitar. It's not really guitar, and how they play that music. And nobody in America is good enough to play that. That's how crazy it is. That's why when you're dealing with culture and history, you can't blanket it. When you blanket, you miss a lot of origin right off the back. It's hard to trace it. I would say history is one thing; it will teach you a lot of things about the world itself. Then you realize one thing don't mimic everything else. Everybody's different from different origin, from different time. It won't go further back down. Then you got to realize there's no rock in it. It's folk, yeah, with mostly culture until they build civilization. When you build civilization, then that change. Some people don't want to be under civilization, they want to take it within their own tribe and culture. The way you have so many tribes, the Chinese and Japanese. Look at the history of China. They call it the warring state, right? I'm sure whoever who studied the Chinese history will find out they was really killing themselves for over 500 years to unite China. I'm glad I wasn't born there. Leave me out of that one. And not dissing their history, but their history is brutal. So no matter what music they play among themselves, God forbid you would tell the Han music sucks. Then I am not getting in the middle of that. That blood war right there. So you can leave me out of that part. So look at Australia. That's a whole different culture. Look at Africa. Africa from different origins have different kind of music, different type of folklore music. What you know in Nigeria is different what you have in South Africa, which is also different in Kenya, which is also different in Uganda. My country alone had 500 dialects. So that means there were 500 different culture and different music, which not gonna sound the same. So when, I'm glad you said the rock itself had a branch off into the other. Yes, after the 50s, that is known.
I'm gonna disagree with you, say David, because I feel like if you listen to like the old school stuff that we know, we don't have a lot of the old school stuff except the classical. You go even further back,
Hmm.
they have the rock feel to them all.
You're right about that, but that's from the 50s and the 40s around that time.
I'm talking about even further. I'm talking 1800s. I'm talking medieval times. You
If you
can
listen
disagree
to,
all you want, but that's how
uh,
it has all the right instruments. It has a drum. It has a
trust me,
guitar.
if you listen to old 1800 African music, it will not sound like rock to you. If you listen to
It does actually.
1800 Australian music, it will not sound like rock to you. With tribe is the same. Where they play the drum, it's like you're going to understand. You will not understand. Guess who's similar to that? Native American. Native American have a music where they can play music information to one tribe to another tribe, and they will know and understand. And who not from tribe or either the tribe would not know. This is why I say rock is not the foundation. I'm sorry. She have a way of correcting that either we like it or we don't.
Mm.
It,
Even
it,
African
it,
music,
it,
bro. I listen to African. Hang on. I'm like you. I have listened to it. Has all the feelings and the foundation of what I grew up with rock.
I live in, in Africa for 7 years. I listen to the old music. Nowhere near rock. Nowhere near.
And I expect you to disagree as a
No,
immigrant.
it's not as an immigrant. This is something, and when you know history, anybody who's a historian on the web right now, they will tell you it's not going to be the same. It's not. Because the African music of my tribe is nowhere near rock. If you understand the language, you understand the message. It's nowhere near rock. That's what they call it folk. And that is by far have been proven. Even
All
Chat
right,
GPT went that far.
let's get her. Let's get Mariana in here really fast. All right.
Okay.
Hello.
What's going on, Mariana? How are you tonight?
I'm all right. Just trying to take it easy. I was basically well rested before, yeah, because I wasn't paying attention to my phone notifications so till now. But I'm okay
So you
now.
slept through your medication again.
Yes. Sorry.
Typical Mariana. Why I'm not surprised. So Mariana, you've been listening to our conversation so far, haven't you?
Not as much so
From what
far.
you picked up, who you agree more, me or David?
What about motivation and music? Because
What
that's what I'm
foundation of music, where it originally came from?
originally came from.
Yeah, because we haven't even gotten into the show part yet. We've been arguing
Okay.
back and forth.
Um, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go lean towards Dave.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
See, I told you, I hate my music teacher. You go back with a
I
music who up
hate
in the
you right
university. No, but you can get mad with me. Have a music teacher in high school who went to university and studied all the history of music, and you go screw up in that classroom. The amount of homework they will give you is annoying. So
now.
yes,
You know what I would have done if I was in her class?
you don't want my music teacher.
You know what I would have done?
What?
I would eat beans the night before, and Mariana knows what happens when I eat beans.
Oh
I would
God.
rip. I would clean the whole room
Ugh.
out.
And you gotta fail that class and repeat that class. 7J Hill High School trauma. There's some teachers. Oh, you think you're wise guys? When you try to graduate and they find out, oh, you need to pass this class before you graduate. What class is that? And who the teacher? There's some teachers, they don't let nothing go.
All right, because we got Mariana on here. Let's get actually in the show now. Finally, all right, guys. I want to mention some songs here and tell me. Let's start. Go, Dave. You go first. Mariana, you go second. Tell me the first thing comes to your mind. Okay. Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Oh my God.
First word. Don't think about this. First word that comes to your head. David, you go.
Hmm.
She's taking too long. We're gonna be here.
No, 'cause as I'm looking at the Hall of Fame, I never heard of me. I'm not sure if I heard it. If I, the
Let's
name
go to
is
the next
title.
one.
The title
So-
sounds like something you did achieve after how many years? We say Hall
Good.
of Fame.
That's a good point. I have a tiger.
Motivation
Yeah.
for workout.
All right, the champions.
Oh, that is the one, the Olympic song I hated the most.
Olympic.
We are the champion. Mostly it played for people, let's say, how would I say it? When you beat a certain country in gold medals, that's the bragging song.
I never thought like that. But okay. Mariana, you got any on that?
Um, this is a very, even though this is probably early 2000s, um, I will say this artist is still on my mind. Aaliyah, Try Again.
Mm.
Like,
I've never heard that one.
once you don't succeed, you just, basically, it's a very old school.
Yeah,
Like, this is
it,
like
Yeah.
R&B.
it's
Okay,
iconic.
here's a couple more. It's My Life.
That sounds
My
like
life.
it sounds like an updated version from Bobby Brown. My prerogative.
No, actually, that's a
Is it
Bon
not
Jovi
Bon
song.
Jovi?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see another one here. On Top of the World.
Mm. That's a song you feel like when you're invincible, no one cannot touch you.
So I mentioned a couple songs to you guys. What is one thing is common with all these songs?
I kind of do that during a time frame. They're like considered one of the
Common.
best songs.
I mean, like, it motivates you.
There you go. Ariana got it today. So why do we have music that motivates us? Like. Why can't we just get away motivate?
Question is, motivated to what direction? You use the word motivate, right? And we all know there are many that can motivate into the positive realm of things, and we got many that can motivate to the negative side
Mhm.
of realm. So let's be
Mhm.
real. The word motivation is in a wide spectrum.
Mhm.
Like rock music or heavy metal music, the kind of motivation they get from that one, I do not want to know.
You don't have a lot of motivated songs around this time now. Like, it's, I would say, years back.
You had to do it in the 80s.
There are a
You had,
few. There are a few. There are a few, but not a
There are
lot of them. There are
few.
a few.
Okay.
Really?
uh, this, this
Watch
year,
the movie Creed, second one. All right, the running
Mhm.
song.
Oh,
mm,
Type in Creed 2, running.
I think that
running.
had to be a rehash music song than from original because
It's not. It's not. It's
it's
a brand
not.
new song. Nope.
Okay.
There are
Hit,
not as many. There's not as many motivation songs out there like it was back in the day.
Hmm.
I'll give you guys that.
Hmm.
But there
and
are
the
a few diamonds in the rough coming once in a while.
reason why the culture have changed. For example, we have mumble rap, aka trash.
Mummy rap, you said?
Mumble rap.
Mumble rap.
That
Mumble.
it's supposed to be the next generation of rap, but it's not. It's actually pure, unfiltered trash. It doesn't make no sense. There's no work put into play. Whatever they come to their head, it's the same tone for everybody. Even if the icon of rap are calling it pure garbage. What's bad about it? A lot of young generation are bopping their head to it, even though the music itself is so downgrading. It's not really real rap at all. They call it mumble rap. Remember
Time out.
Eminem? Let
Time
me
out. Time
finish.
out. Go ahead.
What I'm saying that Eminem one time, I don't know why he came out. He was so pissed on how they're taking the genre of hip hop to the wrong side. He came out did a few albums and did obliterate them because we kind of like you're not putting any effort in writing the music. There was no effort in these music at all compared to pop, compared to country. At least they're showing effort, but these mumble rap is pure unfiltered garbage.
All right. Reason I told you to time out. Listen what Eric is saying. And that makes a lot of sense with this. And I agree with this. Music is too culture divided to track down to a single place or origin.
Diverse.
Diverse.
Agree or disagree?
I agree with him because I remember I mentioned that
Ariana?
earlier.
Yeah, I agree with him. Yeah.
There you
I agree because I mentioned that earlier because it's not the same. Every culture have its own origin of music they have.
go.
I will not compare South American music to North American music. Leave me out of that
Yeah, yeah.
part.
Hmm.
I will not compare Chinese music to African music.
Hmm.
There's no similarity behind it. They're the deep rooted. Now I say they're the deep rooted origin of their culture and their tribe. Now I say some music either pattern history or family tree or a
Mhm.
message, depending on what it is. That if you understand the language. Which is why I said what I said. You go to my country, there are 500 languages. One country,
Mhm.
gosh, I could barely learn two. Talking to 500.
Mhm.
So no matter what kind of song they have within their own tribe, it does not sound like everybody else.
Mhm.
So I get it and I understand it because what Eric is saying totally correct. Like I don't want to joke about them, but Russian music, I wonder if they broke away from the European for a certain reason because there's a slight similarity of the music is almost related to classic music, but to a different direction. Because Europe is mostly about classical EDM, right? Greece have their own, London have their own, the Irish have their own, the Dutch have their own, the French, the Spain,
Mhm.
they have their own version of classical, right? As well as the
Mhm.
Russian. But when you listen to it, it doesn't sound the same.
Yeah.
So that's why I always try to think myself like I try to avoid studying music history because when you study it more, then you have to understand the show respect of the lineage behind it.
Mhm.
I think in the United States, we try to make it seem that there's only one type of genre that broke multiple genre of music out here when we don't realize that history far did it beyond the history of America. How old the US is? 200 something years or 400? They are a nation that have been there for more than 2,000 years. Their music outdated your music. So you can't say their music does not exist.
Mhm.
South America, they had to call it Alcatraz. No, I don't want to mispronounce it. Because it's
Is it
something based
Aztec?
Aztec. Thank you. Their music is completely unique. That is way more tribal.
Yeah.
So I cannot say their music is rock. I mean, I'm showing disrespect to their music,
Yeah.
but it's not. Even though there's drum is universal around the world, either we like it or we don't. But it has nothing to do with rock. Since rock started in 1950.
Yeah.
But if anything, culturally speaking, folk is a more common definition for it because they're all different type of folk music, or you want to call it folklore.
Mhm.
The classical music is more so on the European side of things, whereby you have some of the iconic musicians that have been put into history, but even though they're the most dominant civilization, it neglect all the other cultural music that have been dear far surpassing their age, but it's not part of history.
Mhm.
That's the thing I remember I was in high school. I always ask that question, and when I ask that question, I see the look in their face. That let me know shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you ask that question, if that's the case, but the Chinese have been here for more than 4 or 5 thousand years. So how come they really not surpassing the classics? What would they go an argument?
Mhm.
What about the Australian? I throw that one in there, I get in trouble.
Mhm.
Let me not mention the African, because African have their own origin. But what it's known, whoever was the conqueror at that time, their history comes first before everybody else. That was the logic behind it. Now, if that was the case, the Persian was the one who conquered Europe at one point. Before you have the Roman Empire, where you have the church back, and then they want to rewrite history. It's like whoever was conquering who want to rewrite history, what they think it should be. So when we look at
Mhm.
music, motivationally speaking, dude, 2025, they're not really much of any motivational music.
Yeah.
It's more overly sexual,
Mhm.
overly provocative. Some music are highly depressing.
Yeah. I
Then we
agree
have
with that. Yeah.
go ahead, go ahead. I'm sure you're
Yeah.
I'm sure you're aware of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what is going on. Majority of the music now. Like it's sometimes it's I don't even want to listen to it. Like it's a big turnoff. Like who wants to listen to that? That's just not gonna like come on. And I have young nephews. Come on, you don't want them to hear that kind of crap.
I love that argument. Somebody said when you were a kid, the music that you listened to, your parents called it garbage.
Hmm.
But when they were young, the music they listened to, their own
Yeah,
parents call it garbage. So the
yeah.
question when I asked you, so when it comes to music, which music was really, really garbage, and which one wasn't garbage at all?
This right now, this is garbage. And a lot of I will say very soulless music. Very soulless. Has
And
nothing.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that because I remember listening to a lot of debate where people want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about we need to be upfront with ourselves. There are
Mm-hmm.
multiple generations in the room who were told when they were young what they were listening was garbage. But later when that garbage ended up becoming real music. And
Mm-hmm.
you cannot argue, you cannot debate it. Because during the 40s and the 50s, swing music was called the song of the devil. Remember?
Yeah. Yep.
You're a lot of prominent folk who will chat at that kid. If I see you dancing to that devil music, you'll get kicked out. So let's be honest.
Yeah.
There are a lot of genres that were considered to be a certain kind of music until a level of opening up. You have
Mm-hmm.
swing, you have rock and roll, you have jazz. R&B was the worst of them all. I'm sorry. R&B was the most troublesome music, which worse than swing music.
Mm-hmm.
Reason why a lot of R&B singers, how you want to put this? Their parents were either pastors or preach in the church, and
Mm-hmm.
you brought a level of shame. Shout out to Marvin Gaye, who father took him out. He was the son of a pastor. You're singing R&B, you're singing what they call secular sexual music, and you're
Mm-hmm.
making your fatherhood a pastor look bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think was going to happen? I don't want to mess with the white folk when they were pastors or whatever, and their kids were playing the type of music was showing on TV, making all the young girl acting so secular, ungodly. What happened on their side? I don't want to know either.
Yeah.
But I can imagine every generation we were calling this garbage until later on there's a level of openness whereby people start to accept the music.
Yeah.
Swing started to be accepted. Rock started to be accepted. R&B started to be accepted. I think the only music that didn't get no criticism during the time was country music. Country music was one of those type of song music genre. No one
Mm-hmm.
called it garbage,
No, definitely
but
not. Yeah.
they at one point they called it slave music before they got
Mm.
taken from them. I searched history a lot, and I would tell. It's funny how that music escaped the garbage label,
Mm-hmm.
but it got taken from slavery and made it to be a original Southern music. Country was like the anthem for the Southern region because
Mm-hmm.
it sounds wholesome. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't no explicit lyrics in there. It had a unique type of soft tone that it melted the heart. They say when listening
Okay.
to country music, it's easy to drink beer. I don't know how that works. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert on that. If you listen to country music, make it easy to drink. I don't know about that one. Without the K, then the spot will be playing a lot of country music and he'd be mellow, which he's not.
Mm-hmm.
But every other genre I listen and hear to, it got criticized at one point. At one point, then when rap came into the field in 1970, there was a issue with rap. One, it wasn't popular, but it was started to grow out here in New York City until it started to expand from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. When it became popular in the airwave, we had the other side of the region, California, who took rap and make it something else, whereby there are two versions. We have regular rap, then we have gangster rap. Gangster rap was considered to be garbage. that was the case because they were talking about violence and everything. Will Smith and Red were considered to be the bubblegum rap. It's all about having fun, being chilling, being cool. You have pop music that took a different direction where it became popular. It probably be the more popular music called it pop.
Mhm.
Country music was one of my favorite back then because I used to like I forgot to talk to Travis. There's a few artists I love in country music because they're so more relaxing. At some
Mhm.
days the country music almost sound like a Christian music, which was ironic about that.
Mhm.
As the genre changed more and more into present time, the young generation that we look at and we observe, we didn't listen to depressing music, they listen to mumble rap, they listen to some kind of weird pop music whereby I don't know what you can call it. And there's some other genre that is unheard of that they haven't given a proper label yet. Eric said something about I'm thinking about the great example of modern contemporary rock, and on the album that comes to mind is Graceland from 1986 by Paul Simon. Now, Paul Simon, one of my favorite artists. I grew up listening to his songs, and I think he's a genius of a musician. I don't know what he does, but I remember he'd have a partner who was to sing with him, and the thing about it, he was exploring different genre of music and trying to orchestrate something that was very, very unique. He's a musical genius. That's one person I can clearly say he understands music on a deeper level.
Mhm.
So, David, I
And this
had to
one
walk away
also
for
I
a
could
few
talk about
minutes.
fight the power. hmm Go ahead.
So, David, I had to walk away for a few minutes to take care of some valve movements. But I ever heard you talking a little bit of shit about me, saying
I
I be
said,
more calm.
I said, I said, you don't play country music because if you play country music, then you able to drink your beer better.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
New York's not too
And
far away from me kicking your ass. You know that, right?
don't worry, I'll get a cowboy boot for it. Please. If I see
Eh,
if I see Spot wearing cowboy boot, I will be shocked. I will like,
I would never wear a cowboy hat. Yeah, day
I will
to
look
the day
at
I
him.
die. I may wear a cowboy hat one day just for kicks and giggles.
Yeah, but boot, I go look at you one time. I asked you, Paul, when did this happen?
The boot might be up your ass after I'm done with them.
No, it won't.
Yeah, it would. It's very easy in your fucking ass.
Paul be acting the same thing. I don't know when Peter started wearing cowboy boot. Like, what happened? Like, how can I call for God? Now we'll blame this show for it. But I'm being honest though, because if you don't look around the world, the amount of genre of music it's over expanded to the point it's confusing.
Oh, absolutely. It's been confusing for a while now. Music has stopped being music since the early 2000s. Think about it.
No, hold on. I think it stopped around 2012, 2013, I believe.
We
Because
can
from
we can debate that at a different time of that. But
okay,
like we say early 2000s or late
yeah,
whatever it was in our memory at least.
hmm
Because at least in the early 2000s I remember musicians used to make their own music. Most of these motherfuckers don't even make their own music. They have somebody else write it for them.
Mhm.
well, it's not a matter of writing; it's more like stealing.
Yeah.
Because this was something that I remember watching somebody did a documentary about how people music got stolen from them, and they would get paid a little to chump change and would give to somebody else. The perfect culprit is Beyonce right now, which allegedly speaking, she stole a lot of people's music, what belonged to them, and somehow she beat it to the point to have it air. You know how when you play the music, it hit the airwave, you
Mm.
automatically claim it, but somebody sang that exact music with that exact same lyric, and they got cheated out of their music. You know how many writers and artists who was either blackmail or bamboozle or written off or got sold for less. Like, how you pay someone $200 and I mean to make millions of dollars? Like,
Oh, exactly.
that what we're going in the music industry. And you had the documentary about the new edition, the documentary about TLC, how record label are stealing people music. That when they start the highway robbery, where music no longer sound original anymore because for simple facts, God forbid you want to sign your right to your lyric or to your song. They will block your song from coming out in the air. But because of YouTube, you can't block it no more. Let's say YouTube save a lot of people who, technically speaking, were threatened because the song you have, they took your lyric and want to give it to somebody else, and they tell you not to use to sing your song because if you sing your song and this song come out, there'll be a conflict of interest whereby people will think who's the original or who's not. That have been a thing. And that's why a lot of people are they're walking away from the music industry because they say either be independent, write my own music, I put it out myself, got on Trust Beat label, they want to sell my music and claim ownership, which I can wonder how the patent office is going to do this right now. You had a song, you had to run to the patent and make sure you patent it before somebody steal it from you. So in case of lawsuit, you have it right there to, hey, this is mine. It's ridiculous. And the music industry is a multi-trillion dollar business.
The problem with music industry is ruthless.
Ruthless. Wrong word. Wrong word. It's not ruthless. It's beyond brutal. Your song that could be a major hit could cost you your life. Oh, you are not
Very-
lying, Eric. You are not lying. I think that's the number one murder right there, the American Idol. When it first, I thought the first two seasons I thought would be a good thing, but not really when you start to hear about the story that happened behind closed doors. And you start to ask a question like, where are we going with this? You know, they bring back an old music show or an old show they had back in the day called Star Search. They did back in the '80s, where people were
I remember the name,
singing.
but I don't remember watching it. I
You
was
could be
never
on
big
W.
into the show, music shows back in the day.
My mom made me watch it with her, which is if you from the '80s, you could be a WPIX 11. They have Star Search. People will be performing, people will be dancing, people will play an instrument, people will be modeling or do all type of skill,
You
and
have
they
now
compete among.
AGTV right now. America Got
Hmm.
Talent, close to Star Search.
Bingo, she nailed it. It's like a rip off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the original. American Got Talent is a copycat of that.
Yep.
Straight copy. I remember as a
Yep.
kid, oh God, Saturday afternoon, 11, 12 noon, that one thought should come on.
Yep.
Around that time on Channel 7, you have American Bandstand.
Oh, I remember that one.
I remember
These
none
are,
of these stuff actually.
It was, yeah, so many shows come and go, but a lot of them recycled back
mm-hmm.
in a different title.
Neo Hard Track was the original MTV.
Mm.
Yeah, Neo Hard Track would be on Channel 7. Then after a while, you see MTV. MTV copied the same format on Neo Hard Track. It was a popular program in New York.
Mhm.
Star Search was so ahead of its time. The fact they have American Got Talent and not catch on that they stole the whole format, that is exactly what it is. And they trademark it. If you notice that. Why you think you have Britain Got Talent, then you have all different versions of different country around the
Yeah, because
world.
they started from the, what's his name, Simon Cowell, the British guy. They started from the
Hmm.
British, and then they bring it to here in America, and now it's in almost every other country has it, in every
And he own-
continent.
and he owned the right to it. So he's milking it.
Yep.
So you can imagine that one. American Idol, it kind of like fell off a bit because it didn't have the original judges
Yeah.
that made it iconic.
Seymour, whatever his name is.
Simon.
Simon was there first, and he had
Paula Abdul.
there you
And
go.
oh my God, what's his name? I'm
He the
trying
black
to
guy.
remember him. The black guy
He's
with
chubby.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you hit it on there, Paula Abdul. She's the one that kind of once they yanked her off, it really
Yeah.
went downhill.
Yep. Yep.
And there was a scandal behind what caused them to leave, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And the host, the first original host, there were two of them. I think one of them stepped away from season 1, season 2, and Ryan Seacrest stayed with them for the rest of the who knows when.
Yeah. Ryan's still there, I think. He's still hosting. That's kind of crazy.
You telling me? I think he had the right to it because he was
Oh,
there from the very
really?
beginning. I believe so. How you stay that long?
Yeah. Even though he's obnoxious, I'm sorry to say, because sometimes, when he,
I agree. I agree with you. I will have to agree
All
with
right,
you.
guys, give me a second to get this guy in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president.
The historians have returned.
Shut up there. Mr. President, what's going on tonight?
Pretty good. Feeling pretty good, guys. What's going on?
We've been talking about motivation of music. So I mentioned some titles earlier. I want to see what I want your first thing to come to your head when I mention his names. All right, just the first thing. Don't think about it. Just boom. If you don't, think about it, just go and tell me next. Hall of Fame
Hall of Fame. What do you mean?
song.
Hall of Fame? I don't
Yes,
understand
Fame.
context.
You never heard of the song Hall of Fame?
What, living in a Hall of Fame?
No, there's a
Hall of
song
Fame.
called
That's the name of the
Fame.
song. That's like
Nah, I mean, I think the one they play at WrestleMania, right? I mean, that's the one, or the Hall of Fame induction. I'm
it's an
Living
Irish
in the
song,
Hall of-
actually.
what's
It's
that?
an Irish song. It's an Irish song, actually.
I don't recall that.
It's the number one motivation song out there, actually. Iowa Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up. Okay, I got something out of you. The Champions.
The Champions. You mean We Are the Champions?
No, the Champions from Cry Perry. You sing it. Man, you guys have not listened to good music, I guess.
It doesn't make the list. I'm not saying it's not a good song, but you know, if you want to talk about like Mount Rushmore or something like that, then that's another story.
That's a personal opinion too. What Mount Rushmore music is somebody too,
Mhm.
correct? Like it's
Well,
my
yeah, I mean, if it's on your all-time list or whatever, that's fine. You know, I just say some of these songs I may not be as familiar with, or they're certainly not in my sort of motivational playlist. But no, I mean, you're entitled to your list. That's fine.
It's not my list. It's Google's list.
Oh, Google said these were the number one songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's My Life. That's another one. Do you ever heard of that one?
Yeah. Doesn't
Do anything to you?
doesn't do anything. Yeah, I don't get the. I don't
Doesn't
get the
tickle your
tingles from
little
it.
tickle
No,
you
it
a
does
little
not. No, it does not.
bit? All right. So what does tickle you then?
Well, again, certainly the Rocky soundtrack. So certainly the Gonna Fly from Rocky. Certainly Eye of the Tiger, Conquest, which is the song that they play certainly in Rocky 2 and 3. The battle song, but even in Creed, the training song from the
Running
first Creed movie. Yeah, that's definitely up there. Some movie soundtracks, Bloodsport, Fight to Survive is in my playlist. I play that a lot when I'm doing cardio. I don't listen to music when I train, when I do strength
Really?
training. No, because there's a lot going on up in here. I'm thinking about sets and reps. I'm laser focused, so I don't want any kind of distractions or getting into the music. I'm really laser focused. If anything, I play white noise. If anything, just like the sound of the fan that might be on, or my central AC might be on, or something like that. But it's like it's like a church. I mean, it's like quiet like a church. It's very much I don't I may play a little music going into it, but once I get locked in, music off, it's total focus, it's total concentration, and there's a lot of self-talk. There's a lot of things that are going on in my head that really keep me driven. So not a lot of music there, but I may play music on the way to work just to kind of get me motivated for work, or if I went like for a job interview, or something like that. I might play some music to kind of get me hyped up. Recent song that was out, I think it was Remy Bondo's guys, All the Way Up. That one certainly one of the more recent songs that will kind of get me going listening to that. Nothing Can Stop Me, I'm All the Way Up. I mean, that's certainly up there. But a lot of it, quite frankly, is, I guess it depends on the mood that I'm in, or what I'm going for. There's music that I play to get hyped. There's music that I play to get focused, or more mentally prepared for something. Sometimes I'll just play beat. I like beats, just like real like rhythm beats, street beats or whatever, and I'll just play that continuously in my head. And I'm as I'm especially on long road trips, I'll play that to kind of keep me motivated. So it really depends on the mood that I'm in. But certainly there, even from a Karate Kid, You're the Best, from the first Karate movie. That one's always been a pretty positive song in my head. So yeah, I mean, a lot of songs from again the movie soundtracks. Even like Star Wars, like the Throne Room. At the end of Star Wars, where they come down and get their medals and everything. That's
Oh, you mean the
Throne
medal
Room? That's what
ceremony.
it's called. Yeah, the medal. Yeah, the Throne Room. That's and then it goes right into the end credits. Raiders of the Lost Ark. That song kind of gets me. The Raiders March certainly gets me. A lot of John Williams songs or pieces kind of get me going. So it's no one genre or whatever. If I want to go real old school, some old school rap, Run DMC back in the day, a lot of that music will kind of get me hyped up. So it really could be from anything. It may just come into my head and be like, yeah, I want to listen to this, and it kind of gets me into a hyped mood. But like I said, when it comes to training, no music. It's just like you're in a sanctuary. it's just I got to be locked in at all times. So yeah.
It just to me it's a little strange. I'll be honest with you. No offense, Paul. Is you don't listen to music when you work out. Everybody I know who works out always has music.
When I mean, obviously you're in a gym setting and whatnot. But even then, I don't know if I'm as focused in the gym setting as I am in my dungeon. Like I said, my dungeon, that's like, everything. When I train people or train my wife or whatever, no music. It's just we're gonna get it in. There might be some, I might be communicating to them in terms of what I want, expectations and everything, but not a lot of action going on. It's a totally different. I get totally immersed in it, and music, can be a distraction. Now, if I'm doing cardio, if I'm on, walking or my Gazelle freestyle or elliptical or something like that, where I just need to kill time, then I'll play music, continuously then. But when I'm doing, my last set of squats, no, it's like no distractions at that point. Just get it in, and again, that self-talk. Okay, I got one more rep, I got 5 more, 4 more, 3 more. That constant self-talk. I'm my own coach. I'm coaching myself through the movement, especially for those hard reps. So once you get to that last 5 and you don't feel like doing them, then that's all self-talk. That's all motivation. I'm creating images in my head or whatever. It's just focus, push until I can't do anymore. So it's a totally different it's a totally different experience.
Me personally, like it doesn't matter if I'm working at home or by myself. I had been at, workout situations that I'm completely by myself, and I still need music.
Mhm.
I cannot work out without no music. It's a thing for me, and it depends on the song too. The one song I always put on is a newer song from the Creed 2, the running song. I like that one when I do cardio.
Yeah. But even like, I mean, I forgot. I mean, I'm just kind of going through my list. I got a list here. Like I said, a lot of Rocky stuff. The Rocky 4 soundtrack, especially if I got to shovel snow. Like
I know where you're going with this already.
The Rocky 4 in the snow, the bolt tracks, the training montage, and then the hearts
I
on
know.
fire.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
I can see you.
Well, I did. If you check my
Paul, what did you
Instagram,
watch
I
the
actually
first name
did
again?
one. I actually did one over the winter to literally the Rocky go on my Instagram.
I remember seeing that when you were the
So,
last big storm we got.
And I put in I super because I was doing squats, like I was shoveling, and so I have a special technique when I shovel snow where I squat, and so I interpose. I where I was in the squat rack, I interpose a squat with the shovel, so like saying like I'm kind of doing both at the same time. I'm incorporating my training into the shoveling just to save my lower back. So yeah. So like I said, that's big for me. Wintertime, Rocky 4. That's the ultimate right there.
So let me ask you a question. What is your wife's first name again?
Dottie.
Dottie. So I can see you doing the Rocky thing, except how he sings Andre and you go Dottie. Your wife go like, enough already. I'm right here. Enough.
No, not necessarily. She just she's pretty chill like that. But
I'm not saying she's not. She is. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you did that, the whole, when he gets on top of the mouth and he starts yelling and he has his arms on top, Adrian, you go, Donnie! I'm like, keep going.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
I bet you're going out of our breath, dude. Come on.
Yeah. One thing I did here, I didn't catch all the show tonight. I just heard, I think David, I heard him blaspheming. He was saying some blasphemous stuff earlier. So
what?
About music, black music, or American music, or something like that.
No,
rock
I
music,
said
whatever.
the origin of black people started from jazz, but originally it's country music. I wouldn't blaspheme.
That's not well. First of all, rock and roll, rock music comes from rock and roll, which comes from blues. Jazz is a separate arm off of that. So rock and blues, gospel music, that is the origin. So rock music comes from rock and roll, which was a black term, which means to have sex. All right. So again, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, all those guys, they are the pioneers and founders of rock music. You look at the Beatles. All their inspiration comes from black artists. Elvis Presley, half of his music catalog came from black artists, and he grew up in the black church, and he got all his inspiration from there. So again, rock music is black music, just with a spin on it. And rock music, black music created jazz. Really, you can make an argument it's the forerunner of country music because again, you had rockabilly, which also came from, again, Negro spiritual. So basically black American music is black music. So that's
you can say I'm right now. I'm just waiting.
No. I'm glad he's saying that because I don't know the whole history of the music, but I'm just saying what I've learned.
I'm just saying, I knew what I was talking about.
But you say rock, rock music is American music, but it's not the world music.
No, I said
no, it's not.
I said that we were arguing earlier today, Paul. To understand me and David, I said they're all music is some type of foundation of rock that used to be folklore at one point. Folklore, evolved into rock and to other stuff. And he's arguing with me, and he says, "No, I'm wrong completely."
And I'm saying that because based on the American standpoint, rock existed here. But you go to another region of the world, they will not call it rock.
They might not call it rock, but it's still rock.
Hang on,
Okay,
what's your argument on
Okay, so
like
if-
world music? You saying world music comes from rock music? Is that your
in a, some type of shape, way, or form? Yes.
interesting?
But like, for example, jazz is all over the world. Let's be honest here, right?
But jazz is black music. Black people,
Yeah.
Black Americans created jazz. Period.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. You're 100% right.
Mhm.
But jazz is in different languages. Is definitely in Greece.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, now you're gonna say, oh, jazz doesn't exist in other countries because it's not jazz. It's something else. But it's still jazz is jazz. Doesn't matter what language they say it in. It's still jazz. If it's in Greece, Tokyo, Africa.
Oh, for sure.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Music is
That's my argument
arguably
here right now.
music is arguably America's greatest export. Is American music, rock,
Mhm.
jazz. You know, a lot of that. The only thing that we didn't create was like the classics, like classical music. You know, it's like Beethoven and all those European artists and whatnot. They created the classical genres and whatnot. But then black people then took it and spun it. So again, you had your classical hymns and whatnot, and then we added some blues to it and we created gospel music out of it. So we took the hymns and then we kind of put some black flavor on it. So some seasoning. So, yeah. So I mean, there's certainly genres that originate from other parts of the world. But if you look at just black music in general, whether it be from Africa, Afro beats, reggae, all of it has like a common source.
That's where I was going
it's all originating from Africa.
Thank you for putting it that way. And that's what was my point trying to get to.
Yeah, but common source. But Africa wasn't like rock. Because remember I said they have African folklore music where it's based on their particular tribe.
And that's fine, David. Like I said,
Right. And I'm saying, and those people, especially with the West African slaves that came to the US, they brought that with them.
Bingo.
So again, those Negro spirituals and the fields, those songs that they came in the fields, that created the rockabilly, that created the blues, and then it came from there. So in a way, you can say that again, African music created rock music. So it's almost like it's kind of came back full circle, but it started with the Negro slaves in the fields that had that tribal music, and they used it as a way to communicate to themselves. So they didn't know what the master was saying. So again, it kind of originated out of that. So yeah, it's ultimately going to go back, and now it just went back, and then you had like what's that what's that Afro, the Afro beats, but what was the beat one from the 70s, that soul
music.
soul Makasa?
No,
I think
the
was
one in the 70s during the time of King Sunny Ade, they call it Afro Juju music.
Yeah,
That wasn't what they mean jazz. It was something among themselves before it
yeah,
evolved into Afro, it was more modernized. Afro Juju is a different sound, different genre, different type of play to it. And remember what I said, there's like over 500 type of drum. They had one called the talking drum. You just mentioned the West African slave when they came, they played something that deliver message. Only the master do not understand because there's a language behind it. And that's what I learned living over there for 7 years, because one tribe have its own type of music, or they can transmit music, of course, long distance. Another tribe have a different music as well. It will never
right.
rock and it was something to communicate in case of if you don't want to be to listen to what you're talking about, or like you want to call it coded music kind of thing.
Mhm.
That exactly the same thing with the Native American. Remember, the Native American had a unique way of singing that within their language, only though in their tribe could understand it. That's
Correct.
why the term for it is called folk or folklore.
Yeah,
That have been
yeah, I
that
agree
have
with that.
been the historical fact of many different origins around the world. There's African
Gotcha.
folklore, there's Australian folklore. Don't even gonna call Chinese music rock. They'll go look at you funny. They're the Chinese folklore music.
But it's interesting that you say Australia. Now, again, a lot of that music, again, thank you, Eric, Soul Makasa, thank you. Yeah, that was definitely in the 70s. But you talk about, again, a lot of that tribal music.
Mhm.
Okay, so again, you look at all those African tribes in that Western Pacific, the Australians, so the Maori, New Zealand, all those islands, again, all that tribal music, the haka that you be seeing
Samoan.
from the
That's a
Samoans and
whole
all that.
different ballgame.
It's yeah, but I'm just saying. But again, a lot of this rhythm, a lot of this sound, and again, it's also it's the dance, it's the song, it's the beats, it's all those things. It's like of the you know of the people. I think it's just it's inhumanity that's within us. But I think certainly the greatest influence, I can make an argument that again, the music that came out of Africa or from Africans has had probably the greatest impact on music just globally, worldwide. I mean, who was bigger than Prince and Michael Jackson and those guys in terms of like global artists? I mean, certainly all of that is something that originated from that. So it's like almost like out of our global suffrage, we created this. And it's just certainly still has impact on the
I
world.
totally
So
agree on that one.
I
I'm
would
not going to
definitely,
argue that because
yeah.
just studying the history, you start to figure out, wait a minute, what tribe this song came from? What tribe that one come from? When you start to map it out, you'd be shocked how far it reached and how much it changed over time. That's the thing that baffled me the most. Like, when they go to end, it's not going to end, but when you start to see the mixing, then you start to understand why it's the way it is.
Mhm.
So I give
Yeah.
credit to West African music came here and did a whole new generation. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah. And like I said, not only just like I said, you look at in the Caribbean, like I said, reggae and reggaeton and just all those different Caribbean sounds and whatnot. Even Latin music, right? A lot of the Latin, which is popular now, like it seemed like everybody now was playing this Latin influenced style of music. But again, if you trace the origins of that, it still goes back to African music. You know what I mean? The drums, the masala, the dances, and what it's all African.
That is true.
So it seems like in this time now, you're seeing all these different expressions, whether it be the Afro beats, the Latin music, the African American music. It just seems like we're kind of got this plate of different. Everyone's putting their own, like I said, own spices on it, but it kind of goes back to sort of like the same sources. But a lot of that Latin music is black music.
I never.
In one form
I'll
or
be honest.
another.
I didn't think
Yeah.
that was the case, but since you saying that one now, it started to make sense. I never thought like it was
Oh yeah.
African. I thought it was just South American.
Yeah, because most Africans went to South and Central America. 3 million slaves went to South and Central America. Only 300,000 came to the U.S. That's it. So you're talking about less than 10% came to the U.S. So all that influence down there, South America, Central America, Puerto Rico, all that's all African.
I never see it that way. Thank you for the history.
Yeah, but Pete, you asked a question earlier about if I understood you correctly, you had asked why is it that you need music to be motivated?
Yeah,
I think that was
correct.
and I didn't get what was everybody's chiming on that? I didn't get to hear the responses to your question.
Don't think we actually finished the question because we went back and forth with something else. So let's get back to that. So if David wants to answer that question first, be great.
Mariana, you have the floor.
Yeah,
I have
David's
the
thinking
floor?
too hard. Yeah.
Okay. Motivation, like to motivate me for music likewise. Let's say if I had a bad day, or let's say I need something to motivate me, I will listen some songs that will pop in my head, like Eye of the Tiger, because that's that kind of motivates you. Um, but like I don't. Sometimes I listen to music that's also, maybe sounds crazy. Let's say for your identity, like don't be ashamed who you are, where you're from. Like that's also motivate. Like the
Yeah.
origin, where you're from. Like you could be, you could be proud of whatever you are, whatever nationality. That's also a motivation to me, the way I look at it. Um, and also, music, music also, kind of helps for, not to feel like you're down, but just to lift you. Um, like music could come in many forms, but I like music that will lift you, that motivates you. Like it doesn't, it just I need music that could also inspire. Like that's it's a good thing that still music exists because you can imagine how a world without music. I will say, um, but I will say music is definitely whatever it is. If it doesn't matter if it's, let's say, if you have a good day or bad day, I have to listen to some music that will lift me up, no matter what it is. And if it's gonna help me, it's gonna help me. Like I love this song the other day. I was listening. Uh, what kills you makes you stronger from Kelly Clarkson. That's a motivation song to me. Because that kind of lift you out, lift you up, no matter whatever it is. And then, so that's a cheesy. No, it's not cheesy because that's a song that somebody needs to hear. Because sometimes somebody could doubt you, whatever the case is, you have to lift yourself up, no matter what. But yeah, just
Mariana, I don't know why, but you're breaking up really bad.
am I? Oh,
Yeah.
can you wait to leave and come back? See
Yeah,
what
it'd probably
happens.
be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. I got what you were saying. I kind of had some follow-ups for her, but I can ask her when she comes
Mhm.
back. But
I heard it.
I just think it's natural. You know what I mean? It's music is a part of the human experience. I almost think it's almost as a gift to us. You know, it comes from often like a deep emotional place, and it stirs us in certain ways. I mean, even look at the Bible. You look at David. David, as much as he was not this David, but King David,
Thank God.
as much as he was a warrior, he was also a musician. He wrote half the Psalms are music.
Mhm.
And in that music, he wrote very personal feelings and emotions. So music has that ability to really stir people up. And I think it's natural to be motivated. Like I said, I may not use it during, like I said, my training, but yeah, it's a way of expression that can stirs us to move. To dance, I think, is natural. It's interesting that I've always hated where you had like a lot of overly religious people who try to limit dance. Especially me coming from an African background, dance is essential part of who we are, what we do. I don't know if it's the same in Greece, but dance is life. You know what I mean? And yet, a lot of conservative people will be like, certain dances or whatnot, we shouldn't do. Back in the day, the waltz was banned by the church. The waltz from back in the day. And then then when people did the Lindsay or the Charleston or whatever, everybody said, "Oh, this is music. You're going to hell because you're dancing certain dances or something like that." And I'm just saying, but that's part of expression. Even the sexual dance, like the masala or the what they do with the Caribbeans, David,
AKA dance hall.
the dance hall music and whatnot. It all started there. So first, don't blame African Americans for dance hall, right? We didn't create that. That came from the Jamaicans and the Caribbeans. They brought the dance hall. But again, if you trace it back, see, this is where Ekene would come in, because he could probably point to a whole bunch of these African dances from back in the day. Because a lot of these Africans, y'all be fronting though. For real, straight up. Y'all be so Puritan sometimes, be like, "Oh, that is so disgusting. We don't do that kind of dance." And then somebody will play some footage from like 1930 something from Africa, and they're doing like the twerking came from ancient Africa. Like they did a comparison, and everybody's like, "Oh, this twerking is so disgusting." And then and then they find the origin of it. It started in Africa like hundreds of years ago. It was there. It's African
I think they
dance.
found old
You know?
pictures, the drawings that Africans back in like 1800 were twerking before twerking was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's all the same, but everybody's always trying to say, "Oh, evil, this and it's illicit and all." But dance is free now. Now, Mariana, I know you're from like I don't know if you're from Greece or it's like a West European country, but how important is dance and music? Like,
And Mariana,
do you listen to a lot
and
of?
after you
Yes.
answer that, well, how about you tell everybody where you're from too?
Okay. I was born and raised from New York. My parents are from Eastern Europe. Basically, I'm two nationalities. I'm from East. My father's ethnic Romanian. My mom is Serbian. So they both, they're both from, come from the region, former Yugoslavia. But
Okay.
music and dancing is very important, especially
Yeah.
when we celebrate christening, weddings, such a big thing. Both of them very similar cultures, because they both have Orthodox faith. But it's very crucial. We listen to music, but it's very important. When you celebrate, you have to, of course, you dance. We have to have a big family and friends gathering. But it's very, I would say very important in my culture.
Yeah. Now, do you have certain dances, or the like line dances or
Um,
folk dances that you learn to do, especially at weddings and whatnot?
I
Are there
learned it
certain
from my
like
cousins.
someone starts it
Yeah.
and everybody joins
I
in?
learned from my cousin when I was like 7, 8 years old. It's like a circle
hmm
dance.
Yeah.
They told me, my cousin said, "Oh, dance like you like killing roaches." I'm like, "How? There's no roaches on the floor." So- and
I was waiting for her to. I was waiting for her to say it. I was waiting for her to say it. I was waiting for her to say it because the dance they be doing is a lot of work,
yes,
a lot
yes,
of leg work.
Be-
I was like,
yeah, yeah. Um, because I was, it's not everybody could do it perfectly. You have to have that, like, it's almost like it's like a pattern. Like you have 1 2 steps, 1 2 step, and then you have to follow. Like it's almost similar. It sounds crazy. It's almost similar like Jewish dance. That's how we got it. The
hmm
Jewish dance, and then also what you call it from the culture, the Romi, the Gypsy culture. We also got it too. Because a lot of the
mm,
music we adapt from the gypsies, believe it or not. So,
wow.
Right.
but very, it's very similar, but a lot of, it's a lot of folkyard music we got. Like
Yeah.
there's like slow pace and there's fast pace music.
Right. But it evokes like you were talking about pride earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? And pride in who you
Mm-hmm.
are. And I would think that in those occasions when you're around your folks and your people, and it's just that ethnic pride that kind of builds up and whatnot, and that's a tradition that's sort of passed
Yeah.
on. I'm sure you have like little girls 7 8 years old, like you were saying earlier, they probably do performances of putting like dresses on, special dresses or costumes or something like that, and perform.
Mm-hmm.
I see that in a lot of cultures. Greek culture, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that, and Ukrainian
Mm-hmm.
culture, Macedonian, Greek.
Mm-hmm.
It's special. It's
Yeah.
important, and I think that, like I said, sometimes I think religion, even Christianity, sometimes try to tamp a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
down. But it's interesting but it's only coming from like a certain like from a certain perspective. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But I think but the dance, it just it doesn't mean that it's even dances that we may look at as sexual, like even back then,
Mm-hmm.
those dances, it wasn't necessarily intended. And even if
Mm-hmm.
it was also a recognition of humanity, because obviously sexual, especially if you go to
Mm-hmm.
Africa, there's a lot of phallic symbols and things. Sex is
Mm-hmm.
and fertility is part of the human experience. Be fruitful and
Yeah.
multiply. So if it comes across in the dance, if it comes across in the music, if it comes across in whatever, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, be married, yeah, get
Mm-hmm.
married and do anything you want. But I'm just saying, but sometimes it's like religion sometimes tends to try to tamp a lot of that
That is
down.
Yeah.
true.
When I think it should be more accepted, more expression, more, look at it as again like a gift from God that He's given us this sense to make music with our hands, with our mouths, with instruments, with and express ourselves through dance. I think it's just a healthy form of human experience that we shouldn't necessarily be just shutting off. So that's one thing I sometimes I'll and I've been to certain events, graduates at certain churches and
You
whatnot,
have.
and it's like the black people. It's like they get the DJ and the black people. We want to get up and dance, and all the white people they're like kind of sitting like. And we're not doing anything sexual, anything like that. We doing the cha-cha slide or the whatever it is, and they're looking at us like,
No.
is it okay for us to participate in this? I mean, just so it's like lighten up, I mean, it's so again, like Eric made a comment about Footloose, the movie Footloose, back in the 80s, and it was like very similar. It's like everybody was just so anal about everything. It's like, man, it's David danced. I mean, he danced so hard, he danced out of his clothes when they brought the ark back from the and his wife was like, oh, you making a fool of yourself, and God made her barren because of that. It's like, wait a minute, it's like, like I said, music, dance, expression, these are things that are healthy. And I think sometimes, especially when you're in a culture and a society where everybody looks at everything so bad, music, I think, can be therapeutic. Music can be as far as motivating, or at least calming you down when you're stressing out over things. I think it's a healthy, should be a healthy part of your life, and it doesn't have to be hymns from the 1500s. That's the only thing you can listen to. I mean, if some of you be talking about that, I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, really. I mean, it's that's one area where I will definitely break from certain traditions when it comes to music. And again, Pete, I don't know, as far as the Orthodox Church, I don't know where they are with music. I don't know. Does Father Costadino has a rap playlist? I don't know.
He does, actually.
I'm glad. That's my boy.
I know
That's
he's
my-
watching, like Peter.
He's on vacation. Don't worry. He's on vacation this week.
So, but yeah, but I think it's healthy. I think music is like I said, it's just it's a great part of life. And certainly now that certain songs where like I wouldn't play if I'm upset, I wouldn't play Cypress Hill. You know what I mean? Cypress Hill. I may not, or if I'm in a certain position or whatever, yeah, certain songs I may need to stay away with because it may put me into a certain mood or mind space or whatever. But back in the day, it's like Cypress Hill.
Insane in the membrane.
Yeah, or how I can just delete a man, or any of those songs, Hand on the Pump. And when that song would come on, everybody, it's like you in the car, like, yeah, we're gonna ride up on some dudes and beat up somebody. I mean, it was
Don't play DMX.
It just had you in this kind of
Don't play DMX.
Yeah.
DMX. That was my song for working out and lifting weight because I played that one, MLP, and Redman and Method Man. But when I'm doing that, someone think I'm on steroids. I say no, I'm just hyping myself, get my. When your adrenaline going too high, I figure out how to tap it into my adrenaline. I make it go high enough to the point people think I'm on drugs because I'm lifting huge amount of weight and I'm doing things that people don't expect me to do. That's what I do with those type of music for workout only. African music is more remind me of my origin, remind me of who I am, where I'm coming from. But when I'm having a bad day, it's mostly be gospel music. I don't play. I play gospel music as a way of trying to reason. Sound on reason.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, I mean, like I said, music can certainly take you in a bad place. If you get that, Mariana. I'm sure you've had that breakup playlist. You got one of those.
Don't play Kitchiko. Do not play Kitchiko.
The breakup. So you broke up with somebody. You got that breakup playlist, right? And all those songs that talk about how men are bad and evil and whatnot.
AKA
and I'm glad you're out of my life.
Kitchiko.
I will survive. Well, back in the day, the black woman's anthem from back in the day was Gloria Gaynor. I will survive. That was from the disco from back in the day. That'll get women all, even if they're not mad,
Mhm.
they just start getting mad. It's like my wife, she listens to that song and was like, "Why you coming at me? I didn't do anything." And she, it's like I said, that song just gets the emotions like just up, like,
But
Oh
oh,
my God.
that
hate
but
men, hate men,
but
hate
that song got
men.
replaced by
What?
Keisha Cole. It was the one that I Don't Love You No More. That's the new anthem.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of them breakup anthems. You get in that mode. It's like, I'm just gonna give me a bottle of wine or champagne, and I'm just gonna celebrate. I am over you, whatever. You just play that
The number
playlist,
one for
and
men is from Return of the Max.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Paul know what I'm talking about. When you play that song, every guy in the club,
Oh
they're
yeah.
like, I don't care. They just feel like they're the new person. That one song. It was heavy in
Mhm.
Europe. I don't know how it's heavy in the US, but it's popular.
Oh, Return of the,
Yes.
yeah, huge here. Figure out,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah.
Why you shaking your head, Peter? You played it too when you broke up.
Which one?
It's on the Mac. Don't act like you didn't play that.
No, I actually played Everything I Hate About You.
Wow.
Mm.
Ladies and gentlemen, no homework assignment. What song do you play when you break up? Put in a comment. I would
Oh
like to
gosh.
hear all the songs you played. Especially y'all women, which was the most popular song you played for breaking up?
Mhm.
I need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be bad. That could be bad. That could be bad.
We have to do a tally which one of the most dangerous breakup song on the men's side and on the woman.
Mm.
I put my money on Keisha Cole. I think she'll be number one.
Maybe. But I got a couple for you, Dave. So you got to go back and again, no more shopping sprees. You got that one. That's a good one. And then also an old one was Oran Juice Jones, In the Rain,
Wow.
1982. You got to look at you got to listen to that one.
That one.
You know,
No one shopping queen. That was a breakup to the point of how you want to say it. The bank is closed.
yes, yes. And same like I said, same with In the Rain. You know, I said Oran Juice Jones. Look him up. That song right there. Yeah, that'll get you
What
hyped
about Carl
up too.
Thomas? You make too many breakup songs.
Carl Thomas.
Summer Rain. I used to love her. I forgot what song he did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know you're talking about.
There's a few artists that they're good for breakup songs. I don't know what
Yeah.
is wrong with them. Why when you come to you, all you can find is breakup song in your playlist. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you just go to it. Yeah, but yeah, man. Pete, you've been pretty quiet as of late, man. What do you
You don't
ponder?
want to tell us.
What's
I'm
going on
trying to find
in-
some videos to play for you guys. So give me a
He don't want to tell us his playlist for breaking up. He kind of concerned.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
Really?
I would say this. The one thing I try not to be, because I think I might have heard a little bit earlier about today's music. I'm like, look, every generation. See, you got that look on your
I know.
face. Every generation hates their kids' generation's music.
I did say
go
that.
back to rock. Go back to rock and roll. Go back to blues. Go back to everybody was hating on someone when rap came out. My dad was like, "What is that?" Thing. Even though they were using James Brown samples, and he still didn't like it. So again, everybody's hating. You can find a reason. But again, if I was to ask my 3 daughters now, what Beyonce gets them lit up, and certain artists, and SZA, and there's a lot of artists that they're into that they look. I may not rock with it, but at the same time, I try to let people kind of have their own space. And quite frankly, a lot of the music that's out today is really just samples of, again, older music.
But it's one genre that
Like,
get
I don't
chewed
think-
on. There's one genre I mentioned never got chewed on. That was country music. No one said anything negative about it. You can try and look it up. No one said nothing negative about country music. Every other genre, oh, that was the devil music. But country,
I don't know, because a lot of but again, country music has expanded. Now you got, again, the country rap They got the country, again, country music used to be kind of folksy back in the 40s and 50s and
Mhm.
60s. And then they started adding rock elements. They started adding drums and
Yeah,
electric
but they never say it was
guitars and things
garbage.
like
That's one thing I can say. They never said it was garbage.
again, if you're an old school country person, if you talk about like Charlie Pride and who was the guy, the Man in Black, Johnny Cash, that kind of
What about
stuff, you
what
might be like,
about
you may not be
something
a fan of
Travis? I
today's
forgot his
music.
name. He's the old school guy.
Trap, Danny Travis,
Johnny
Johnny
Travis,
Travis, something like
yes.
that. Yeah, but again, more folksy kind of music. But now, and even the ladies now, I mean, like if you watch some of these country music videos today, the women, like back in the day when you had Tammy Wynette and
Mhm.
Connie, whatever her name is, again, very safe music. Now ladies are coming out and they're shaking their tushes in the country videos and stuff. I'm sure there's a segment of the population who does
Yeah.
not appreciate where the genre is going, but again, music is always making inroads into black music. I mean, who was that? Who was the guy? The black artist. I think the black. I think he's gay. But he did that bit
Little
with
Nas X.
yeah, and he did that bit.
Old
Who's the
Country
guy?
Road.
The guy that
That's
yeah,
Miley Cyrus' father.
so, exactly. Yeah, Billy Ray
Billy
Cyrus,
Cyrus.
right? So again, so I'm saying you have the genres crisscrossing, and so you got rap elements into it now, a lot of pop. And again, keep in mind, again, a lot of people were hating on Beyonce when she came out with a country album. I mean, you saw a lot of smoke coming from that community, talking about you need to stay in your lane and whatnot, and what you doing over here and that kind of thing. Even though, like I said earlier, black people are a major force behind country music. And if you go back in time, again, you'll see a lot of those artists who didn't get recognition. And unfortunately, a lot of that music that was made by black artists had to be covered by white artists in order to get radio and
Imagine
airplay.
that.
So again, it's just just going back and just understand that history of things. But yeah, I mean, country music has changed a lot. I mean, go back to the 50s, it's nothing like what it is now. I think those people would be shocked to see where country music is today.
They might blame Peter for it.
Yeah. The only thing that was controversial back in the day is when Dolly Parton came out.
Okay.
She might have been the only when Dolly Parton came out, everybody was like, "Oh, what is this?" I mean, that was an exception. But they rocked with it.
Exception.
Yeah, no pun intended. No pun intended.
Peter,
but nevertheless, though, but it wasn't like you had a ton of copycats after that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like you had a ton of Dolly Partons coming out. No, she was the only one for years who was doing it, known for that, but nobody tried to copycat. Say, oh well, we got to get all these sexy big bosom women to be in country music. It didn't happen, and even to this day, she's the only one who's known for that. So hey,
you ain't doing that one for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked at the kid. I was like, "Mommy, what that?"
Nah, it was like, I mean, you had the brothers turning heads back then. So I'm just saying.
All the brothers. I was like,
the brothers was like, who's that? I may not like this country music, but who is that?
Peter, stop searching for it, Peter. You see you, Peter. Stop searching for it.
So, Mariana, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So since you come from a multi-ethnic background, you also talked about Romani and so what is your native language or your
my native language, I mean, as I said, I was born and raised in New York. And of course, people are going to ask me, you have an accent. Yeah, I have an accent. It doesn't sound like very American. It doesn't. Because I pick it up somehow when they're, how my parents talk among their friends. But the most spoken language at home when I was growing up was Serbo-Croatian. basically.
Serbo
Yeah,
Croatian. Yeah,
because
okay.
that's the now it's more Serbian, because at the time
Mm.
when the country was together, at the time it wasn't. Now it's split apart. But it was more at home. It was mostly Serbian. But every time we visit our relatives from my father's side of the family, they speak mostly Romanian. But everybody speak the same
Mm.
because they all know more than one language. Because
Right, right.
my father speak multiple language, I will say. Before he
Mhm.
came here, he was living in Austria before arriving in the United
Ooh.
States. Because a lot of the people from Eastern Europe, no matter where, at the
Right,
time
right.
during communist time, Vienna, Austria was the gateway to get into America first. Believe it or not, even a
Mm.
Mhm.
lot of people now. There's a lot of people from every nationality living in Austria, especially
Wow.
now. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's mostly Serbian. But I still it's been a long time since I talked that language. So I learn it
Mm,
as I
mhm.
go, but if I could pick it up once it takes a while to remember. The only language I need to learn is Romanian. I only know a few words. Romanian I don't
Mm.
speak as much because my father didn't teach me. So
Now we say Romanian, that's not the same thing as Romani,
no.
right? Like you said, the Gypsy language,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, that's
different
different. Yeah.
language, not
Yeah, mostly yeah,
mhm.
it's very different
Yeah.
because Romani, believe it or not, it's closely related to the Indian language that's dated back to
Mm.
5,000 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, it's definitely one of those that I knew.
yeah,
It's very
yeah,
old.
very old.
It's a very old one.
So,
Oh,
Wow.
guys, because I'm kind of giving up trying to find this video. I'm going to send it to you guys later.
No.
And I'll
Okay.
shut up, David. Let's get on our final
mm,
thoughts. Let's Big Mouth go first, aka David.
AKA Big Mouth, AKA Bear Paw, AKA Black Dave. Well, this is one. Bear Paw. Let's get that correct. Bear Paw. Don't worry. I'll call my bear cousin and reach out your home. Anyway, oh, why they will come and chase you one of these days straight from Florida? Don't blame me for that. Either way, oh God, this guy's a
I
clown.
got a lot more when I come from, so keep it up. I got more sound effects.
Either way, this is a very interesting conversation because when you start digging into history, you cannot overlook music. Music have a very major influential impact on history all across the globe. And I can really say that when I hear Paul call me out on my African heritage, I have to laugh because yes, I have people in my family who kind of feel like, oh, we don't act that way, we don't dance that way. Yeah, but when we go to an African party, catch them off guard, Paul would tell you, you'll be shocked how they dance. You were like, hold on, who's what, these African or the Caribbean? I don't know. All I know, they're full of mess, but you can't hate your origin. I think it's kind of like good to know where you're from until the kind of music that your parent or your grandparent listen to. So it kind of like it keep you grounded to know your history, know your past. But this is very interesting to get into. It allows the history and timeline where it comes from, then how you feel about your origin, how you feel about your past and your present. Other than that, I enjoy the conversation. That's my final thought.
Hey, certainly music is, like I said, it's a natural part of human expression. Certainly, and I listen to all kinds of different music. Again, depending how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling introspective, if I want motivation, it's just all part of the experience. So certainly I embrace that, and I certainly encourage people, not to shun it. And like I said, religion sometimes can be a blocker of that. And certainly I think the reasons are uh, good, well intentioned, but I think sometimes it goes too far. But I think certainly I think music is a gift to us. So any way that you use it that helps you get through your work, or to overcome some negative things. You might have had a bad day or whatever. I think music is certainly is overall healthy. Now, some of the later entries, some of the things that's the more scandalous entries out there, and I won't even mention any names. That is a concern, but I think overall, though, I think music is overall a good, and I encourage people to make a playlist of music from a lot of different genres that put you in a lot of different moods. Music when you want to celebrate, music when you're overcoming something, music that lifts your spirit, that connects you to God. Don't shut yourself off to just one type of music. Really look into music that expresses the whole part of who you are, and I think you'll be better off, and be willing to dance. There's nothing wrong with dance, even when you're in your house, by yourself, whatever. Bust a move. It's shake off some of that stress and anxiety that might have had you down. I think these are, again, positive human expressions, and would encourage people to participate. So, good topic tonight.
This is an interesting topic. This is a good topic to talk about. As I say, music, it brings people together. It's also, motivate people when you're trying to get yourself a good mindset, but it helps you. Music is a booster when it comes to, like, say, if you want to, do a workout, or let's say if you have a bad day, whatever it is, music, it helps you to get through it. As I say, but music helps people to get through life, no matter what's the struggle. You could have a good day, a bad day, whatever the case is. But yeah, and also learn other people's cultures from, whatever it could be here in America or abroad. And music, help people to bring to share culture, to appreciate other people's culture. And that's all I had to say. And thank you for bringing me on. You want me to say more? So sorry.
I took me a minute to click on. I was making sure I got everybody, so that was my fault, Mariana. All right, guys.
Okay.
This was a interesting conversation. Even me and David kind of like got into it a little bit. Don't give me a look, because I will poke your eyes out.
I'll let you a lot of beer in your neighborhood.
No, actually, that's 20 minutes north from me. That's Matt Pocono. I live in Strasbourg. Two different things. All right, let's do a schedule update. So David and Wiley will be talking about Broken Blade tomorrow night at 9:30. And then our fitness guru and our coach from a laboratory, I'll call him now. They're talking about fitness 101. When begins becomes warriors. And on Saturday, Link versus Cloud. Yeah. And we are having a gray area. Hopefully, Paul is on time. You will be on time.
What? Oh, as soon as I touch down, I'll be running to the.
You will be on time.
I'll run to
Don't
the.
worry.
Talk to the airline. That's all I said.
You're responsible. Anyway, guys, I was joking aside. All right, guys. As always, I am the Spartan. He is the big knucklehead over there. He is Mr. President. She's Mariana. Stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys at the next one.